Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is the second part of bones analysis. It is the continuation of the previous vlog that I've published recently that was focusing on microanalysis. I hope you had watched the first part, and to understand better the samples that I'll be referring are those that I've mentioned in the first part. This vlog is about how to identify the bone samples and to distinguish them interspecies. So I'm opting the morphometric analysis. What is morphometric? It is a study of dimension, be it 2-dimension or 3-dimension. It is the measurement of the outer form of, be it organisms or organs. Well, these are the tools that we need when we are doing morphometric analysis. We need some brushes, digital weighing scale. It depends if your samples are large, so you require some larger weighing scale. And if you prefer manual weighing scale, it depends on you. And we need a standard length scale, be it centimeter or in inch, and a catalog card that include the information such as the location of where the samples were found, the date of cataloging or the samples were found, the dimension, which is the length, the weight, and the anatomical features, if you could identify them, taphonomy, if you had identified to which species does the sample belongs to. We need wooden pick to remove some debris excess on the bone samples, and of course we need to handle the samples using gloves. We do not want to contaminate our samples, nor we want the samples to contaminate us. Well, working in the lab, we need to be systematic. So prepare some trays to place all the samples accordingly. Well, in this vlog, I'm focusing more on the limb. So these are some of the limb exhibits: the metacarpus, humerus, phalanx, and patella. Well, the phalanx, actually the digits or the fingers. The patella is the kneecap. Well, before we start, I need to explain to you the orientation between human and animals. I'll be using this terminology intermittently, the proximal and distal. Okay, proximal is actually a location that is towards the shoulder, and distal is the opposite. It moves away from the shoulder. Usually we point it to the fingers, and you have to understand that animals walks on 4 feet. Well, us, the human, we walk upright on 2 feet. So you have to use your imagination. Where are the proximal and distals of the animals? Another terms are the dorsal and ventral. Dorsal, actually the back. If you have a pet, cat or dog, and you pet them, usually you touch their dorsal area. Well, when you want to play with them, you want to tickle them, you tickle on the belly, right? The belly is the ventral part. Okay, dorsal and ventral are seldom used on humans. Usually in humans we use anterior and posterior. Anterior is the chest, posterior is the back. Okay, so touch your chest, you said anterior, touch your back and you said posterior. Another two terms are cranial and caudal. Cranial refers to the head, while caudal, of course, the opposite side. Okay? In this vlog, as I mentioned, I'm focusing on limbs, where you can see the arm, the cannon bone, and the phalanx, which I only have the samples of hoof. One hoof actually. And the cannon bone is the metacarpus. The arm is the humerus. I'm not gonna talk about patella. Well, let's start. Humerus. The humerus that was presented to me was about 5 centimeter in length. I forgot the circumference, the diameter. How do I know it was a humerus? Well, there is a distinguished part on humerus that you could differentiate it from other larger bones, like the femur. Well, there's olecranon fossa there. I've circled in red, and I've discovered that the humerus, the part of humerus that was presented to me, was the left humerus. You can see the lateral and medial part. Well, the humerus that was presented to me, I think it has been chopped, half of it probably, because the size is shorter. And you see the distal part of the humerus, the bone samples that I've got, the distal part has been chopped too. And look at the proximal. The proximal actually longer than it should. And I hope that you could use this time to appreciate the structure. The olecranon fossa. Fossa is actually a hollow space. Fossa, which is in Latin. And the medial part is where it near the body. The lateral part is away from the body. The next one is the metacarpus, or the cannon bone. Well, the cannon bone that was presented to me was less than 5 cm actually. What is the diaphysis? Diaphysis is the midshaft. Okay, how do I identify the proximal and the distal? Well, you could see from the right picture, the distal part of metacarpal has this. You look at it; it looks like a knuckle. It looks like 2 knuckles, right? So if we remove that, it will leave some ridges like the samples that I got. And the proximal looks just exactly like in the diagram. Well, the dimension of the metacarpus are in the following diagram. I'll provide you with the accurate dimensions and some comparisons between species. what you see here is the cranial view, which is you look at it from the front. Okay, here's the diagram that I'm going to show you how different a cattle metacarpus looks like, comparing to dog, pig, and horse. Ox is a male cattle. Well, ours is more likely like the dog, but you see the dog pinky, the last finger is too long, but actually they have 5 metacarpus like us. Okay, what is metacarpus on human? Okay, look at your palm. Look at the back of your palm. Okay, the place where between your wrist and your fingers, that is your metacarpus. If you happen to have experienced hospitalization and the nurse put on the brenula, that's it. Well, this is the dimension that I mentioned to you. Look at bone sample. The mid shaft was 155.4 mm. The proximal width and distal width are almost the same, 69, 68. And the diameter was 29.8. Compare it to buffalo. Buffalo looks larger. And bison, of course, larger than the bone sample that I have. And sheep and goat, they appear to be smaller than the bone samples dimension that I've got. Okay, on each species, I've labeled some numbers there. Those are reference that I'll provide you later at the end of the presentation. Well, actually, if I would say that this is a cattle sample, I'm assuming this is a cattle sample, be it a cow or a bull cattle. It also depends on the breed itself. If they are from large breed, like the limousine, the size could be bigger, probably similar to buffalo. And at this point, I don't know how old is the cattle was. I can't tell by the bone, by the limb bone itself. Probably this is a malnourished old cow or cattle, or probably this is 2-year-old cow. Who knows? Okay, phalanx. This is the sample of hoof. Well, the average dimension for bovidae, like the cattle, usually it's around 79 plus minus 0.6 mm. But look at the sample that I have. The dorsal border is 144.6 mm. The hoof itself, it is around 5 cm in length, not the cross-section measurement. The cross-section was the dorsal border. It's appear larger than the average. Probably it's an adult cattle. Well, in the diagram just now, where you see dog, pig, ox, horse, the metacarpus of a cattle, actually there are 2 metacarpus. They are fused together, and you see there are 2 hoof just now. Well, this is the only one part of the hoof that I've received. And from the humerus, it shows it is left humerus. So I bet that the metacarpal also, the left metacarpal, and the hoof would probably the hoof of the left limb. Well, these are the references that I've referred to. So take your time to read. In the next episode, I would like to share on how to estimate or how to identify species based on dental samples. Well, if you're presented with dental samples, you're not only able to identify species, but you could identify it, or you could estimate the age as well. But there's a catch. If the dental samples are molars, it would be the best samples, or at least the samples that you need to estimate age. But the best samples are complete dental samples. The maxillar and the mandibulary dentals. So how to identify species based on dental samples? That would be on my next vlogs. You see, these are the samples. If someone give you these kind of samples, could you identify them? Which one is the humans, the cattle, the pig, the horse, the deer? And if you know which one is the elephant tooth, that would be interesting. I have a specific fund on dental structure studies. I like to study teeth of animals because it's very unique. I hope the sharing is very beneficial. If you have other information that you would like to share, please drop your sharing in the comment area below. Please share this vlog. Kindly subscribe and like. It would be a motivation for me to produce more vlogs in the future that would be discussing on my previous working experience in veterinary industry. There are lots of them. Thank you for your time.